Okay, let's do a collective reading. But some housekeeping. I'm going to start posting everything I post on here to YouTube as well, because this app seems to be on its way out, let's just say, in one way or another, right? So I know it's Mercury retrograde, but it's just, it feels the vibes are off. The vibes are off, and I've been on TikTok, not posting, but just, in general for several years now. So, and I'm sure anybody who's been on here can tell, like, it's headed for the woodpile. You know what I mean? So that, it'll be in all my captions and on the screen. But more importantly, I wasn't sure what deck I wanted to start with today. And I just kept hearing messy, which like really falls in line with the Mercury retrograde and literally everything else that's going on in the world. And then as I was organizing my decks, I split one deck on this card, the forgiveness card, and just looked at it and I heard incoming. And then I was like, maybe that'll be a part of the message, but I didn't want to start it that way. But then I split another deck, like when I was, again, organizing. And where was it? It was like, like the card that flipped up was, I can't hold back any longer. I don't know where it is, but, and it feels messy. So let's just see what's around you right now. Whoa. Oh, I don't see how that's possible, but okay, so the first card that came out was the breakup card. And then something about whatever is going on in your energy not being the right time, and then moving. So you could be moving. Right now, thinking about moving, someone connected to you is moving. I kind of also see this card as a card just like of movement. So like the big manifestations, changing jobs, makes sense with the breakup, but then challenges, making a decision to work on inner healing. But then you've got commitment at the, like, it's messy. You see it, like, it's messy. Like, I don't know. I want one more for that commitment right away. I don't think you're, maybe you've just gone through a breakup and realized that that relationship didn't serve you and it just wasn't the right time for a lot of things, and that's caused you to move, which has caused you to reflect and make decisions on inner healing. But then like the messy part is like, why is the commitment here? So let's just get one more. Spy. Ugh. Sorry. No judgment. That's just bad karma for whoever's doing this. So if it's you, quit it, right? Quit it, knock it off. If it's not you, this is the energy that's around you right now. And why do I feel like this spy is trying to figure out if you are taken, committed, off the market, right? That's what this feels like. Because the rest of this actually kind of feels like you. And then that commitment, it was sticking out, feels like it confirms it. Anyways. I'm in such an odd mood. Like, I'm anxious and I'm excited and I feel silly, but also now I'm a little irritated. So I can't figure out which part of that is the collective. Let's get some emotion cards and see what your baseline emotion is. All right, so what's this collective's baseline emotion? Attached. Sneaky. Oh, you are the spy. Introvert. I'm talking to the spy right now. Listen, no judgment. Like, we've all done it, right? But the reason why I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that is because when you spy on someone and you don't make your intentions known, you're still doing energy work, whether you are aware of it or not. I'm sure this collective, you're not totally, because I think you're just following impulses that you're having because you're curious, and maybe this all is you, right? Maybe this whole thing is you, but you're doing energy work on someone because you're thinking about them, you're watching them, whatever, and you want to engage with them, but you're not. And that creates karmic debris. And another word for karma is lessons that our soul will have to learn, because there's always something deeper at the bottom of watching and not engaging, right? There's clearly damage between you and whoever you're watching that you're hoping is single, right? It's clearly not someone you don't know. Or maybe it is. Either way, well, I'll break it down all the way. But this attached, That's why I think, I don't know. This card says limerence, fixation, clinging onto, strong fondness, feels like love, can't detach, and hooked on. And one of the, like, limerence is a clinical term, and we need to probably not use it so liberally on the internet. But if you are looking in on someone that you have a lot of feelings for and you've never interacted with this person before, that's one thing. It doesn't totally feel like that for this collective, because I feel like when people look in, it's usually because there's damage between the person that they're looking in on and themselves. Otherwise, you would just move towards that person. Save for the, situation where lack confidence and whatever else. Well, actually, let's get you one of these. Shoot, what was that? One sec. Stop it. The card that fell off the table that I had to get up and go get was rejection wound. So I think that's probably what's that kind of lying dormant at the base of a lot of this. Making a decision to work on inner healing shows up as a fear of abandonment, unworthiness, often causing trouble. Trusting others. Why do I feel like the way I just said often causing? In my head, I heard Southern. Maybe you're from the South or have a Southern accent, or like, I love accents. It's like one of my favorite things. But sorry, that just came to my mind randomly. It must be important, but may lead to people pleasing, isolation, rooted in past experiences of being dismissed. So this is all making a lot of sense. I don't think you're spying because you're a bad person, and I don't think most people who look in that like do that are bad. Like, that's not, again, everybody's done it, but just keep in mind that you're doing energy work when you're doing that, right? This introverted, focusing on myself, hermit mode, avoidant, do not disturb, withdrawn, inward looking, and unsociable. That would not be necessarily a negative thing if you are just primarily working on inner healing, but then you've got the attached and the sneaky on the other side. Do you know what I mean, babe? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to have to shift that energy. And again, I think because you struggle with rejection, like, just know this is coming from a place of love and from a place of experience. Okay. It's not a place of judgment. It's like, I get it. Like, I get it. Right. This sneaky, it's the told you a lie that's sticking out to me. It says sly, thinking they are clever, snake, devious, hiding things, deceitful, told you a lie, trying to trick you. I don't think it's that. I think, again, it's something about the dishonesty here, but it comes from the looking in. I want one more for that, just real quick. Letting go. One more. I think you're trying to stop yourself, like, for sure. Oh, that's interesting. You get the letting go and the miracle. Maybe that's what's going on in the back of your mind, is you're looking in, and whatever you're looking in on, or whoever you're looking in on, you're hoping that they're not in a relationship, but you're trying to let go of all of this behavior because you feel like if it were to come through, it would be a miracle. That's how I see this card, is that whoever I'm reading, when it comes out, that the person feels like whatever they're engaging with is kind of a lost cause and would require a miracle in order to come into an alignment, which is sad. So clearly you're going through some shit too, because experiencing a breakup, I want one more for this no. Whoa. No and yes. With the patience card. Just a few more months. Good things are on the way. Oh, this collective. Usually when it's kind of a rare thing when the yes and no card come out together, and what it tells me is that someone is really truly on the fence, or their energy is really unsettled in the fact that they don't know something, or they feel like they don't have enough information to make a decision. And it really lines up with the fact that patience also, if I can grab it, patience also came out with this. I think you're telling yourself, like, maybe in a few months, like, I'll feel differently. I'll have more perspective. I won't have to do this anymore. I'll find out more information. Like, it's a rational thought pattern, but your emotion is causing you to do this because your thoughts are not settling your soul, right? Does that make sense? And again, there's nothing wrong with feeling the emotion of wanting to walk towards someone and blah, 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 blah. But the rejection sensitivity is what we're going to have to work on, because the longer that you do not listen to your emotional compass, the stronger it's going to get. And we don't want you to start harboring things like guilt and shame, and then you're just rejecting yourself, right? So what's this moving? Giving it, there's so much here about you really just like trying to not make any decisions. And this is everything in divine timing, let it flow. And this card also, the moving card also says moving in with your partner. Maybe that's something that you're daydreaming about, fantasizing about. Maybe you're telling yourself if this were to work out in time, that would be something that would be on the table. But that's like planning a huge major decision with someone that you're just looking in on right now. So it's a little bit detached from the rejection of it. It's like you're skipping over the hard part of figuring out how this person actually feels about you, or what the situation would actually entail, by like daydreaming and not it's a little bit of avoidance. And I think you know that. So we'll have to just tap into this other person and see how they're truly feeling about you. But what's this decision? Make a decision to work on inner healing. They'll be back. This card is about expecting to hear from someone. Why do I feel like you're not I don't think you're waiting for somebody to reach out, or maybe you wish that they would, but I don't think it deep in your soul, because remember, this is your energy. So it's going to be like a blend of your subconscious and your conscious mind. I always describe the way I read energy as me having a conversation with your higher self. But ego will come in every once in a while and be like, hey, what about me? You know what I mean? So if that makes sense. But like, I think that's something you kind of want, but because you want it, you're like, I gotta work on myself here. Because I don't think you're waiting for that specifically. I think you're telling yourself, maybe again, there's so much here about just time, the passage of time, and you trying to like pump the brakes on whatever this is. Let me tell you something though. For you to be looking in, but wanting, this is a serious commitment card. Like, it has the wedding rings on it. And whether you believe in like getting the government involved in your relationship in that way, like that's like till death do us part, like the classic, life partner energy. And you're looking in on someone you feel that way about. That's not just looking in on someone and having a crush. That's not just looking in on someone and missing someone. That's like looking in on someone and thinking, like looking in on what you want to be your life partner. Do you get what I'm saying? That's a very heavy spying attached. So that's why I think you're trying to be rational, but like the way you feel towards this person is really intense, right? Like, it's not just like the date night or like the conversation or any of those like sort of lighter ones didn't come out. It's the big one. This card says things are getting serious, but you're sitting in stillness and quiet. Well, not stillness. I think you're quite frazzled. I can't decide if I want to see what your true dynamic is with this person, or how you're feeling about this person. I kind of just want to see who this person is to you. Who is this? Actually, I keep seeing this one specific card in my head, so let's just see if it comes out. All right, who is this person to this collective? Like, what is their action? Wait, hold on. What is the actual dynamic between this collective and the person on their mind? What is the actual dynamic? Well, so that's good. You got 3 really good cards, but then you got another card of delays, stalls, not dealing, avoiding conversations, boundaries, still angry. You didn't get a card about being angry, but you could be angry with yourself. You could think that this person's angry at you. But then around it, again, 3 really beautiful cards. You got the ascending, transcending obstacles, learning, expansion, new phase. This is preparing for union. I'm not sure about that. We'll break it down. Like, I'm not trying to, again, If you're very sensitive to rejection, don't take anything I'm saying as an outward rejection. It's a redirection, and it's coming from a place of love. So, but then the healthier choices, making healthier choices in love, in life, self care, being happier, and then the healing heart, healing from heartbreak, freedom from toxic relationships or addictions. Why do I feel like this healthier choices? I think it's both of you because I'm asking what your actual dynamic is, but I actually think like you're just now starting to embody this healthier choices energy, especially since you're like post breakup. I can't imagine it's the person you just went through a breakup with. Correct me if I'm wrong. That just dawned on me. You'll have to tell me. Sorry, I was like trying to decipher the energy. I don't think that whoever you're looking in on is the person you just went through a breakup with. Although I do think the person you're looking in on, you've had a breakup with. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope that makes sense. But this healing heart, I think, is more you than them. Because this is healing from a heartbreak, freedom from toxic relationships or addictions. So this is what's actually around the energy of your connection, which is nice. What's this ascending? Transcending obstacles. Soulmates. I'm going to have to get your soul contract and see what universe, like, source has to say about, like, the whole contract, what you guys wrote in to, like, learn from each other. But partnership agreement. And I'm hearing, too, with that, like, commitment. Like, I'm seeing, again, that ring card. So I think this is someone that you've had a lot of history with. Like, I don't think you're an actual limerence where, like, you don't know this person, you've never interacted with them, and you've just built this up in your mind. For you to get the soulmates card, what's actually around you, like, that's a genuine connection with someone who's, like, tied to your soul with the ascending. But what's this not today? And that's you. That's all that stop, break, pause, whatever energy. The clock. Oh my God. I'm not laughing at you. You just keep getting every single card about time. The time. Needs time, takes time. Two, literally back to back, two cards about time being like a huge barrier here. Which again, I think you are probably not okay with, but you're also perpetuating in one way or another because the avoiding of the conversation, time to heal, but progress happening. Maybe this is just a confirmation to you from the universe that like there's no rush. Like the time here is being very divinely guided, and don't feel like the like feeling like things are, we'll break it down and see with this other person how they feel about you. But I don't think that there's like a time limit on this, right? What's this healthier choices? Meeting and conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, but friendship. I think when you're looking in on someone, you're seeing them do this quite a bit, like just live in the moment and like friendship and like just being lighthearted and carefree. But I also think you're trying to embody that more yourself. And then what's this healing heart? The golden mirror. I think this really confirms what I was saying, is that like this one felt more like the energy you're embodying from a breakup, because this golden mirror is about being full of yourself and being self-absorbed in a one-sided relationship or love bombing. And I'm not saying you are those things, but I think that that's the heartbreak and the freedom from the toxicity. I think the toxicity was the golden mirror. And I say this all the time, but what you project out is what you call in. So you would embody some of those qualities, and it was clearly a lesson you needed to learn in order to make you self-aware of some of those qualities. If you are the type of person that can sometimes put your needs excessively over somebody else's, and you have not worked your empathy muscle as much as would be favorable for healthy connections. Your opinion, your emotions were always, no matter what, at the end of the day, the most important, without ever considering how you were affecting other people. Then what you would be calling in would have been an extreme of that. It would have been someone who would also do that, but would be so self-unaware about it. And you probably would have been too if you were in a toxic relationship like that. But it would have become so glaringly obvious to you. Like, why don't they ever consider my opinion? And then at some point, it probably would have clicked. Like, oh, I do this, right? That's what the golden mirror energy is all about. Which could be why you're trying to make the decision to work on inner healing. It's because you've now realized, like, oh, I've done that. And now I know how it feels to be on the other end of that. And I don't like that, which is really good. Which is why the universe is probably really doubling down on the time here. And I think the only thing that's making you feel rushed is you looking in on someone that's clearly a soulmate of yours and feeling like you might miss the boat here, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. Again, we'll confirm it all, but I want one more for that row, and then we'll just get your soul contract right away. The Runner. One more. That was clearly you. If you are someone who would have struggled in the past, whether you knew it or not, to be empathetic towards how your actions affected other people, and there was so much in the other deck about avoidance, then you, in your higher self would have been giving you signals that when you hurt someone, like, you need to take responsibility, but your ego would have been like, we need to run. We need to run. We need to not deal with it. Our emotions are more important. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they feel. Like, protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself. Because that's what our ego is trying to do. And it does a piss poor job of it when we're adults. It's only useful when we're tiny humans. And we're unfortunately trying to survive traumatic upbringings where the ego does the best that it can to keep us safe. But you have to remember that about ego and trauma is it had a purpose when we were tiny and trying to stay alive, and deconstructing it as an adult is necessary because it doesn't have any application. Do you know what I mean? But this Runner, this fear of intimacy, and it literally says listening to ego at the bottom of this card. That's what the universal energy is trying to ascend you towards. I want just one more. The Sunglasses. And so you are the Runner and you are looking in. Watching, looking, focusing out. And again, it comes from your fear of rejection. It comes from you not recognize, like, you feeling like it's been a long time since you've been able to recognize the hurt that you've caused. But nobody is just 100% wrong, typically, in a relationship. So try to have some grace for yourself while also remembering that you do still have to work on this sort of avoidant tendency, right? Paradise at the bottom, though, and that's about happiness, expansion, joy, feeling oneness with the universe. Okay, so let's just ask the universe real quick what your soul contract is with this person. And hopefully that will just really push you more into inner healing. Because if you're watching tarot, you're clearly, like, connected in some way. So if you're really healing and you guys are bound, like some sort of red thread connection, soulmates, divine, twin flame, doesn't matter the label, but your healing is an important part of your contract with another person. And until you heal, there will be no movement. Like, the universe will step in for stuff like that. So let's just see. Source, what is the contract between this collective and the person on their mind? Yeah, things are already in motion. It's not like, we'll just see what other messages come out with it. But you got the Gears, the longing, the desire, yeah, with the Maverick card, and that's a card about being independent and being a rule breaker, but being rebellious and a nonconformist and fearless and thinking outside the box. So this is your contract. This is what you guys are meant to learn from each other, right? And it's also where it is right now, like where the contract is right now. It's not your whole contract, but it's the energy of it at the moment. So some sort of major uncontrollable force, a chain reaction, things being unexpected, a wipeout, an external force that had been building momentum has been, so that's got to be what you're going through right now. One more. I heard forced removal. I don't know what that means. The self-expression, being bold, speaking your mind and communicating, but having balance and sending a clear message. Why do I feel like this is a chain reaction that's caused you to be in the where you are now. So you sent a message, they sent a message, something's happened to create this split, breakup, ending energy around you, and either your connection with that person or somebody else. But it came from a place of someone expressing themselves, and that was a major uncontrollable force. I'm seeing the divine intervention card that's in here, and it was always meant to be there to create an imminent wipeout. So in addition to you being the type of person who maybe avoids dealing with things from an emotional level, like conflict resolution, and because you fear rejection, you would have been connected to a chaser, someone on the opposite end, a true soulmate bond. Typically, there's one and the other, right? And in that way, that person also would have held on to things that didn't serve them, and the clingy and the attached and blah blah blah. And so for your connection, you both were supposed to learn through major uncontrollable, like divine intervention moments, because neither one of you would budge on your behavior except for outside external forces, how to express yourself. So it makes sense. It was always meant to be there to teach you to negotiate and be bold. There's a lot here about being bold and fearless and standing up for what you really want, which is a really beautiful lesson to learn from another person. A lot of people will spend their entire lives making themselves small, and it truly, truly destroys my soul when I see it and when I read it, because it's like, I don't think anybody really considers at the end of the day that, like, you can't go back. Even if you believe there's an afterlife, even if you believe in, like, reincarnation and stuff like that, like I do, like, it doesn't matter what your faith is about what comes next. Right now, we don't have the ability to go back. And that should be a driving, motivating force for a lot of people, right? To not have regrets, like to not hold back, to not waste time not being yourself. Like it's a really difficult lesson to learn, especially the longer you put off learning it. And the two of you clearly, it was a part of your contract to teach each other that in one way or another. I think this was more indirect because the avalanche card is about, like, think of an actual avalanche. It's an external force. It's not internal, but it's created this gears energy. So action, being efficient, being smooth, being seamless, but progress nonetheless, something about perfect timing and synchronicity, working as a team and being interconnected. I want one more for that. And seeing things from a higher perspective so you could challenge the status quo. So it wouldn't surprise me if you guys are some sort of divine connection. I know the twin flame soulmate, or the twin flame card didn't come out, but I find most soulmates, like, that bond is a really special bond that helps you grow as a human and change your environment for better. So this opportunity, this new hope was always like the gears energy. It was supposed to give you a clear vision. So whatever you've been going through, it's awakened you to something, and it was always meant to. Do I think 6 months ago or a year ago you would have thought that? No. I think whatever's happened with this card is what set things in motion, is what created these gears to start actually turning. And I think for the person that you're connected to, it did the same thing, but probably in a slightly different way. I just heard, like, nothing ever goes to plan, but it was never meant to. Like, the gears turn regardless. The puzzle pieces don't always make sense when we put one into place. And sometimes it takes years to see the actual picture that we're creating. But nonetheless, it was always there. What's this Maverick rule breaker? Yeah. Things working against you, but persistence paying off. So this contract was meant to teach you that. It was meant to teach you that with determined repetitive action, you can actually create new things on the horizon. And people, this is coming in my mind and I don't know why, but I think it's so fascinating, the idea of no contact. And I've seen other people talk about it, and this is not from a judgmental place, but, like, people being like, oh, I haven't gotten a response for, like, a couple days. Try a couple years. Try not hearing from someone for several months, years. Like, I've had moments where I've looked at my phone and been like, what the fuck? Because it's been years. Like, someone left me on red for years. And, like, after, a month or two, you kind of let it go. But that is the type of persistence and, like, working against you. It's not like, I don't know what I'm saying, but it's this beaver card just reminds me of such a long-term dedicated effort where it's like if you had asked someone who started working on their 8 of Pentacles life, their beaver working things out energy at the beginning and then at the end, months or years later, they would have had totally different perspectives on the goal that they were trying to achieve, because that's like what it is. You don't really know what you're working on until you get there. But you're determined to just keep going and be a rule breaker and be bold. Hold on. I have to see what's going on in this collective's energy real quick. Like what's going... Oh, that was the Cosmic Egg. This is not the deck I thought I was picking up. Sorry. Because I actually think a lot of this is more tailored to you. That's just what it feels like. This feels more like lessons you're learning for when or if you ever reunite with the soul person. Because I think whoever you're connected to has probably already learned a lot of these lessons in one way or another. Okay, so what's going on in this collective's life right now? Queen of Wands. That's nice. 5 of Pentacles, and it's kind of horizontal. 5 of Pentacles is a really rough card. Whoa. Ooh! Get over here. The Devil. That's that toxic relationship. I love this the energy of the Devil card, but it can be a card about addictions and obsession, and that's his whole thing. It's all about Baphomet's whole thing is all about choice and self-determination. So he says you can stay here and be addicted and chained to X, Y, and Z, or you can get up and walk away, but it's your choice. Like indulge in the simple pleasures ad nauseum, or get up and get your life together. But he's not going to help you either way. Once you get up and get your life together, that's when the ball really starts to roll and you get that devil energy and you become a dog with a bone. But it's not helpful in relationships. Do you get what I'm saying? 5 of Pentacles, some sort of loss. And that makes sense with the breakup card. Some sort of ending. This card is about being left out in the cold. It can be a card of like long-term isolation, bankruptcy, like devastation. This major uncontrollable force. And then this Queen of Wands. Fire sign. She's a fire sign queen, but she's so magic and mystical. I feel like that's you, but let's just see. I also feel like it's maybe someone you're connected to. The 3 of Wands, the restrictions, the lack of foresight. That's the breakup. That's whoever the breakup was with. The thinking small, the delays, because 3 of Wands upright is all about the big manifestations, the marriage, the home, the family, the kids, the work, the dreams, the whatever, right? And with 3 of Wands in reverse, that's who that breakup was with. You thought it was going to be someone who is a Queen of Wands. It ended up being total lack of foresight. For better or worse. Like, it's a lesson either way, and I think you're really starting to learn that, but I just keep hearing time in my head. Like, I feel like you've wasted a lot of time, but time is not wasted if the lesson that you were meant to learn is being learned. You can only learn something like this over months or years. This is not like a weekend thing where you go through a breakup and you're like, well, guess that, I have to write this one off as blah, 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 and I learned this lesson. Like, it takes time to heal, guys. Don't hold yourself up to a standard that's really unrealistic and also not perpetuated in real life in any way, shape, or form. Oh, Penny, 1 second. Okay, so that's what's going on in your life. Clearly, whatever you're looking in on, like whoever you're looking in on, it's like freaking you out a bit and making you like panic slightly and feel like you're attached. So let's just see. No, I don't think it's important to see what's going on in this other person's life. We'll get how they're feeling. We'll get how they're feeling about you. But this is more just a message for you to like settle your soul that like you're not missing a boat or anything here. Like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to learn this persistence energy and how to be a rule breaker in a really good way, and be independent and be bold and be a nonconformist and be fearless and unconventional and think outside the box. But it comes from, again, working really hard in the face of defeat. Remember how I said at the very beginning, working on your rejection, fear of rejection was going to be probably the leading message in this reading. Well, all of these things are very specifically designed, all of these experiences, to teach you how to see rejection as a redirection, as protection, how to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, how else were you going to learn the lesson? Unless something that you really want was behind that barrier and the fear of being rejected. How are you going to ever walk towards anything you want in life? Because I'll tell you what, I bet you're doing this in all other areas. And soul contracts are not meant and designed for two people to just be in love. They're designed so that the soul can learn the big lessons in the lifetime that they signed up to learn them in order to evolve as a soul, not just as a half of a relationship. It's really important to understand that. Like, outside of this, are you someone who does not stand up for what you want at work, what you want with your friends, what you want in your environment, what you want for your country, do you see what I'm saying? It's not just about love. And until you learn that lesson also, you will always see rejection in the place where it hurts the most, which is relationships, as the barrier to entry. But it's everywhere else too. Bird's eye view, look at things from past, present, and future. Is this a pattern of behavior that is constantly holding you back? And I think that it is. Yeah, I think you're learning that lesson now, but try to see this outside the box. Like, remove the person that's connected to your heart space from this equation. Where else are you lacking hearing or being heard and expressing yourself truly? Where else do you feel like your ideas have not started to be actionable yet? The things you truly want for your life. What other areas of your life are you listening to other people's opinions so that you are accepted in their eyes instead of just being truly who you are? Yeah, this is a hard one because I don't think, and I'm not saying this to upset you, and again, we will get into it, but I don't think that the way that this is going, there's nothing here about love. This is about you and your self-development. Let's say it's not going to happen, but just right now, these are your cards. That's where the energy is. So what's this Tower? Institutions, education, having endurance, lifetimes from the past. You get the feminine energy card. So, and I was just about to say that lifetimes from the past is what's sticking out to me. So right now, this is also igniting within you the idea that you're recognizing familiarity in feminine energy, because I'm seeing that as attached energy, the same way I saw that Queen of Wands as attached energy. So the person that you're looking in on either identifies as female, is more feminine, likes to be perceived as feminine. Like, it's not a gender thing. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just an energy thing. I really do. And it was always meant for you to go through all of the stuff we've been talking about and then come to that realization. But then you've got that longing and desire. I just want one more, though, for that feminine energy. The independence. So this person and this contract was specifically designed to make you and them find your independence. So you guys were codependent to each other. And that is at the root of like the large majority of runner chaser dynamics, rejection sensitivity, avoidance. Like, it's because you guys lack the ability to be independent. For better or worse, it's because you never learned from your caregivers how to be independent because they weren't independent, right? Like, it's a cycle. It's a cyclical thing. Break the cycle, break the pattern. It's not something to harbor shame and guilt over, right? But this powerful, independent attitude, I think when you're looking in, you're actually seeing this person embody this more than anything. It's a lesson. It's a lesson that they're meant to teach you so that you embody it as well. They can be a little, I'm sure they're very intimidating towards you right now, because let's be real, otherwise you would be going towards them. But you're seeing them like be calm, cool, collected, and confident. That attitude is everything. But again, learn from it. How can you embody this? By being more self-assured and having high self-esteem and trusting in yourself. Powerful is also sticking out to me on that card. You could see them as very wise and powerful. But what's this desire? Because I think that's what's driving you a little nuts right now. The desire, the charm, the gravitation, the magnetism, the attraction, the yearning, the field of influence. So on a quest, a migration, relocation. So that moving was really important for the right group of people. But being dependable, knowing where you're going, leaving no one behind, and being faithful. That's what this magnetism was supposed to instill in you and teach you. Because without you wanting these things, you were never going to be focusing on whether or not you could give this to somebody else, right? You wouldn't be just jumping in head first and being like, let's get married, la, la, la. The draw, everything is connected. Do you see how everything is connected? How this whole contract is meant to actually evolve you. We know that you want long-term commitment with this person, but this lesson has to come first. And this contract was designed to teach you that. I want one more. Perfect. So before you can have this dependable, know where you're going, faithful energy, you have to learn how to have your wits about you, be powerful, wise, trust yourself, and easily remove obstacles. Be supportive. This card is also a card about telepathy. I find when people are in like deep longing, reminiscing, and nostalgia, they go through in and out of these periods where they feel like they're very telepathically connected to the person that is on the other end of their soul contract, when it's something like soulmate, red thread, like labels aside, when it's that sort of intense connection, not just someone you know, very casually know or whatever, like and it's a totally normal thing, but it's something to be aware of, to maybe not hold on too tightly, because like, how do you know? And you might drive yourself insane thinking that you can hear another person talking to you in your head. If you can actually quantify it, like, a really good way to know is if you guys are doing the same things online at the same time. Like, you post something and, like, you know, a minute later they post the same thing, but there's no way you guys would have, like, not like as a response, but, you know, just casually. And since you're looking in, you might already be feeling, there's a reason that came to my mind, but you can do it really easily with someone who's in the same room as you. And I do it all the time with my friends. Like, I'll get a phone call. This happens nearly every time someone gives me a phone call or, sends me a message kind of out of the blue and not in the string of a conversation. I'll be like, did you ping me and did I ping you? And like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I was just thinking about you. Cause I will have had the thought right before I get the phone call, right? I'm a psychic medium, so that's like something I'm really typically used to. You could maybe just be opening up to this frequency and it could be freaking you out a little bit. So just, again, I'm trying to be really soft with my words, but just try to temper that telepathy with just a little bit more groundedness, if you can. It is here. This is your contract, but especially this card is also a card about lucid dreams. Just keep your wits about you. Keep your wits about you. I want one last one, and then we'll get into this person's energy. Stalemate. So, one more. So that's what you're having and that would be really hard, that you are the one who has put in these blocks and the delay tactics and the refusing to compromise. I just think you're going through a lot of shadow work right now, but it was always meant to be here to give you an aha moment. How can you learn what you need to heal until you start recognizing these things? That's why most people, in my opinion, will never heal and are not self-aware. Because in order to make change, you have to come up against and see very clearly the things that you have been doing. And then that, in a very healthy way, should give you a breakthrough moment, an aha moment. Like a realization of enlightenment and an epiphany. And like, that's what drives healing. I don't really understand, and I get it, but I don't really understand why people don't see getting answers to things as like, they take it so personally. I love being wrong. I love it when like I'm confronted with a situation where like an opinion or an emotion or whatever I was not seeing clearly, because it's like, thank God I'm finally getting the answers that I need. Sign. I'll call them back, but it's like, I really love it when people confront me like, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing. Like, can we work this out? It's like, oh, thank God. Thank God someone brought my behavior to my attention so that I can work on it. Like, it feels like a gift. Like, oh, you get to work on this now and not just let it harbor and rot in your soul. Think of it like that. You are having this light bulb aha moment over who has created the stalemate energy. That's a gift. See it outside the box. See how it's affecting other areas in your life. Whoever you're connected to, clearly very, very powerful, but so are you. So are you. Okay, one sec.